listeners, and welcome back to the Skylight Books podcast series. We're here for Better Than the Movie, which is our sub-series where a bunch of booksellers get together with a talented guest to discuss movie adaptations of books. I'm your co-host, Justin Remer.
I'm Allan Traylor.
I'm Tyler Austin.
And today, our talented guest is a returning guest, was here from the world-burning, top-selling, podcasts don't sell, but episode about the talented Mr. Ripley. It's Emily VanKoughnett.
Hi, it's me. I'm
Repeat
back.
offender.
Yeah.
Welcome
Repeat
back.
offender. Yeah, I'm back.
This podcast is all about recidivism.
And please tell us what movie-book combination you've brought to us today.
Yeah. Today we are doing The Woman in the Dunes by Kobo Abe. And it's also a film.
That's true. Mm-hmm. Kobo Abe wrote the screenplay, and it is directed by Hiroshi Teshigahara.
Yes.
Nailed it.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
good.
Try.
His second film, I believe, after Pitfall. And then he also did another movie with Abe called The Face of Another. And they're all in a box set from Criterion, which
There's a fourth, but I couldn't tell you what it is.
What's that?
There is a fourth, but I don't remember what it is.
Sure. I mean, he also did a documentary on Tony Gaudi in the 80s, but we'll get to Teshigahara some other time. Right now we're talking Woman in the Dunes. Emily, why'd you bring it to us?
Because you guys want to let me do Garfield.
That's fair.
I didn't even remember hearing
What?
about this.
Yeah. You said Tyler's really anti-Garfield. I pitched Garfield.
I love that.
This is the first I've heard of this, man.
He hates
wanted to
Mondays.
just
kick
He
off
loves
talking about
lasagna.
that.
I'm basically Garfield. How could I be
Yeah.
anti-Garfield?
Yeah. Mondays.
Lasagna.
I think maybe
Yeah.
the root of the problem was too much beef, too much similarity.
Oh, yeah, that
Yeah.
could be. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't want him to take my shine.
But you know when
Right, you don't want Garfield to take your
Yeah.
when someone says no to Garfield, you go Woman in the Dunes.
Yep.
I think that I picked up my copy at a library sale this summer at the Philosophical Research Society. Oh, yeah. So it's just like on my shelf, and I did not realize it was also a film, and so I was like, well, wow, what a reason to watch this amazing film, or what is considered an amazing film, and read the book. With my buds.
Ooh, I feel a little bit of something
Well,
there.
yeah.
Well,
I'm here for
trying to stay neutral.
Yeah,
That's why
exactly.
we're here for the
I don't want to
conversation.
reveal my hand too early.
Yeah. So you hadn't read it. You were just like, this is a good excuse to read and watch.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Has Allan, you have read it before?
No, I've been meaning to read it for a long
Oh.
time. Because it was Teddy's favorite book, and he was always talking about that shit. So I was like, it must have something to it. I don't know.
But did you see the movie?
I thought I had, but then when I when you said I also thought I had seen this movie, but I was like, no, I'm pretty sure I watched the other one because I don't remember any of this shit.
Well, also,
at all.
when I was looking at it on Letterboxd, and I was like, oh, Allan wants to watch it. Perfect. I was like, it's on Allan's watch list.
Yeah.
I'm gonna suggest it.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Letterboxd doing its job.
Yeah.
But as you hinted at, as soon as I started the book, I was like, oh, I haven't seen Woman in the Dunes. I think I was thinking of Face of Another, which is the other Kobo Abe Teshigahara movie, which is not really similar, but somehow that one involves face reconstructive surgery,
Right.
and it's kind of like Seconds or Face Off or whatever. Anyhow, but like this.
But classy,
Yeah, real classy. Talk to me, Tyler. Tell me your experience.
Talk Tyler to me. I didn't know about it. I didn't know either, book or movie, and didn't know the director's work. So
Tyler Austin, cultural icon.
This was a big old blind spot in a much bigger blind spot.
Sure.
That is my life, and
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. What? Am I too nice?
Yeah, how you're too nice.
Far too nice.
Specifically to Allan?
Yeah, gotta get dropped in a dune, man.
I gotta get dropped in a dune and learn some life lessons, and I really gotta get meaner to Allan. That was actually my New Year's resolution.
It's succeeding.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Love you, bud. Hey, that wasn't that hard. This is an audio medium. It was an open palm.
Okay.
No, yeah, I didn't know it, but I enjoyed also the Criterion video essay that went along with it, which is how I learned about the triptych of films between these two collaborators, and it was very interesting. And then enjoyed. So I just assumed you were like a Beatle freak, Emily. I thought you were a real Beatle.
Well,
Yeah, and love sand too.
I love
And sand. Yeah, you're just always going to the beach, bringing sand home with you.
I did wonder, in watching the film, I was like, did he just go to the beach one day and was like, it's so annoying when I can't wash the sand off, and then he made this? Is that it? He was like, what if it was sand all the time?
All sand all the time.
Can't get it off.
Yeah, pretty heavy on the insects too.
Yeah, bug stuff.
Bug stuff.
I definitely kept thinking while watching the movie, like, it must have been so nice to get off set and go take a shower.
Oh,
They filmed for like so long,
It
as I
had
learned
to
in
have.
that video essay.
Yeah, it was like a
should have
super
watched
long.
this video essay.
That was really good.
It was a good video essay.
Would recommend,
Yeah.
Okay.
It seemed like a really long time, and that they were covered in. It's the same thing I thought when we did All Quiet on the Western Front, and they were just muddy all the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, it would be so good to get off set and just like take a nice
Yeah.
shower. So
To be clear, they filmed for 4 months.
4 months is a long time,
Yeah.
and they did like a lot of improvising, which I was
Yeah,
surprised too.
and they also in this video essay, we'll get to Justin,
James
obviously.
James Quant's video essay on the Criterion Channel, but also presumably on the disc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They also did a lot in post, which was crazy.
Yeah.
We're getting into the
Yeah.
nitty gritty sandy
Weeds.
details.
I mean, it's a sandy book. It's a very sandy picture. So the sand is like the third character.
You could say
Yeah.
it's the sand.
It's the sand.
It's the sand. Let me just complete that thought.
It's the sand.
But no, I mean, I think it's kind of an interesting case because I don't know that, apart from maybe something that's like new in theaters, I don't know that we often start with material that no one has real familiarity with. We're just like, let's all try this. We heard it's good.
Yeah,
Especially
so-
coming off of like my other episode being Ripley, I was like, let's go obscure. Yeah. Yeah.
But
In all fairness, we both thought we had some,
Yeah.
so we thought we were familiar with it.
yeah. Well, good on us for thinking we're more cultured than we
Yeah,
are.
exactly.
And good on me for knowing I'm not.
Yeah, fair. That's arguably
Know
better.
thyself, I say.
So stupid.
Yeah, thank you. I thought so.
So stupid.
I get what is we didn't really pre-talk about this, but what would you say is like in the wheelhouse of this book? Like what stories have any of us experienced that you would say is in the wheelhouse of the woman in the dunes?
I got real big Straw Dogs vibes a little bit.
Interesting.
The open hostility from not open hostility, just sort of, I don't know, just the way the villagers treat their captives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It reminded me of Straw Dogs like immediately. And then another movie that it reminded me of was Jean-Luc Besson's first movie, The Last Battle, where it's just a French guy in the apocalypse, living alone, and it all the reflective moments in this movie, it kind of remind me of that. It's also in black and white.
Yeah.
Jean Reno plays a character called the Beast, which is amazing. Highly recommend.
Sure. Yeah.
But that's the two things that came to mind for me, story-wise.
I mean, I guess that's a good point.
Yeah.
Like the fact that it's this guy who gets duped by a village into imprisonment. It feels like something like The Wicker Man or English folk horror, where it's
Wicker Man for sure.
where it's don't sleep on those villages. The villages will get you.
Also, if you go to a town and they're like,
Hot fuzz,
"Hey, are you a cop?" If that's the first question, I don't know, man. Maybe don't stay there.
Hit the road.
Get out of there.
You a government inspector?
You got to tell me if you are.
I'm not a cop, but do you have somewhere I can go sleepy?
Yeah, he's like, "Are you a cop? You got anyone looking for you?" No.
No.
Okay, cool,
Okay, yeah.
cool.
Well, the one movie that came to mind was if you've ever seen Hell in the Pacific. It's with Lee Marvin
hell yeah.
and Toshiro Mifune.
You ever
And-
seen the somewhat remake
No, which was
with
that?
Enemy Mine with Dennis Quaid and Gossett Jr.?
No.
It's the same exact movie except he's an alien.
Okay. So I have heard of this movie, and that sounds
it's incredible.
Yeah. Well, the premise of Hell in the Pacific is basically it's like World War II, and Lee Marvin and Mifune, who are obviously fighting on separate sides of the war, end up marooned on an island together.
Yeah.
And so they can't really communicate, and so obviously like they're fighting back and forth for a while, and then at a certain point they kind of create a bond and start
Great
to work
movie.
together. It's really good. Kind of understand. I don't remember who directed it, but it's very good.
I don't remember either.
I believe it is John Borman.
Oh, that would make sense.
That sounds
Yes.
right.
Also, I know that there are no heavy like podcast heads yet. We still have to grow that. I am 75% certain that we have had this conversation about Hell in the Pacific and Enemy Mine before.
No way.
Some
Not
other
possible.
episode.
Wow.
How is
This
that
reminds me
possible?
that it's just the top reference point.
Wow.
It's really-
our
it's a
next
big
double.
one.
I mean,
feature,
if I
Yeah.
didn't, if I wasn't the one who mixed and edited, maybe I would have been like, that seems vaguely. But no, I'm 75%
It
sure.
would
we
certainly
talked
make
about
sense
this.
why it sounded familiar to me that Louis Gossett Jr. was an alien in
That
the
is
movie.
true.
That would kind of track as well. The other thing,
Guess we're getting old. Harder to keep track of our
Yeah,
stories.
damn.
Slightly
we only have
embarrassing.
so many. You know,
Yikes.
Book reminded me of
a different
Yeah.
one.
what we read last month.
Month, yeah.
Well, I also know we brought up
Getting serious boss baby
the
vibes.
Sandlot moment a few times.
A few times, yeah.
Oh, sure.
I'll never
Every
let
time
that
I
one
bring
go.
that up, I'm like, have I done this too much?
Yeah, I'll
Probably.
never let the Sandlot
It's my
stuff
bit,
go.
you know?
It's a good bit.
Yeah.
What about you, Emily? Any thoughts?
Oh, yeah. Okay. On the book front, it reminded me of The Stranger like a lot, Camus.
Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, going on vacation and murdering a man.
Yeah.
A stranger, kind of. Also beaches.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of it on like the prose level is also like very existential, and that's how like The Stranger functions a lot. Is a lot of like interior stuff. Also, I feel like a lot of stuff about documents. I think there's some document stuff in The Stranger as well.
It's like two-way ticket stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
I read a bunch of reviews because I was struggling with the book a little bit, and I was like, what do people think about this? And almost all of them compare it to Camus, Kafka, and what's the third one? It's anyways, it's like
I mean, Kafka makes sense.
Yeah,
Kafka makes
Yeah.
perfect sense.
Bugs.
yeah,
Bugs, yeah.
Bugs.
yeah.
But also,
he should turn into a
imprisonment in
beetle,
a
right?
system that you're just like,
Yeah,
wait,
yeah.
will this do something good? No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other thing also probably a little bit obviously, and I apologize for not remembering the author's name, maybe you guys will know, is that book The Hole, that's like either Japanese or Korean. The last name's like Pyun.
Yes, I've seen the cover, but I don't know anything about that book.
Yeah. We read it for the Skylight Books book
Coyotes?
club, Coyotes, a couple years ago. And it's about a man who's, I believe his wife dies, and then his mother-in-law moves in, and she
Jesus, what?
and he
oh my!
and then
is this
she's
a
just
nightmare?
always digging a hole in the front yard, and he's also laid up from a car accident. So it's kind of imprisonment.
He's
and
having a great time.
Imprisonment and holes, very similar to this. To this, which in some ways it's also is it not a little bit like Misery?
I was gonna say I had Misery vibes. Obviously, we did that on the pod as well.
Yeah. We all know a classic Misery tale. Yeah. Yeah, but that sense of imprisonment and inner narrative. How do I get out of this kind of stuff? Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds great. I would totally read that.
Yeah, it's a quick
if I had
read.
time
It's
to read things.
It's it's really not super long. It's weird.
I mean, the mother-in-law moves in. That's the
Yeah,
scariest thing I've ever fucking
yeah, no,
heard
you're
in my life.
oh fuck.
I love. You got more mother-in-law jokes?
Oh boy, do I ever!
Oh boy, when she comes over. Oh. Sorry.
Well, I think that
It's like peering into the future.
Hey,
Hey, I'm here all week.
I mean, before digging in too deeply, it is interesting because there is a tonal thing with this book and movie as well, where there is sort of that creeping horror, but I wouldn't really call it a horror story. It's almost, I mean, it's existential.
Yeah.
It's
thriller-esque.
Suspense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's something that has it's a touch of noir in a way that it makes, or I think it's just the suspense element of it where it's looming.
Yeah. I mean, this guy is in for a fall down a hole.
Yeah.
Big old
Well, I mean, he's I mean, he's obviously not expecting to be abducted by a village and forced to work the rest of his life. But he is a little bit like, you got to be a little more aware of what's happening around you,
That's
buddy.
what I'm saying.
She's literally saying, oh, we'll do this in a couple of days. And he's like, I'm getting out of here. And she's like,
Who's the helper?
Maybe.
Am I the helper?
yeah, they keep calling me the helper. I wonder why. It's like,
That's weird. Okay.
They're so lazy. He's just like, no, this isn't it. And it's like,
Yeah.
no, they're flat out telling you this is it.
Yeah, they're not fucking around, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I would be in disbelief too, but I also would be in that situation, I think. So
I guess
I don't know.
there is that element of just like you would never imagine this happening to you.
Yeah.
Right. You're just like,
Well, I mean, the setup is a bit simple, I guess, on purpose, but like, I don't know. I can't imagine the modern person getting into that situation, but like,
Well,
there'd be ways, I'm sure.
He also thinks he knows more about sand than he does.
yeah.
And I think that is, comes up a lot. Like
He's pretty arrogant.
He's pretty arrogant about his knowledge of sand.
Yeah, the way he talks down to her about
And he's like, no way with this sand.
Yeah, and he's like, what are you,
rot that
stupid?
beam. What are you stupid about sand?
it's like-
No, it's her whole life.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Like, oh, such a
passion.
primitive way of thinking. It's
Yeah,
like,
how
no,
could
she
she-
lives with it every day. And you
Yeah.
just have theoretical sand thoughts.
There's book learning and there's sand learning.
Yeah.
And
You just gotta get
she's
in the
got
grid.
sand learning, okay?
So it's like he tries to, dig a slope out. He tries to climb his way out. He can't beat the sand. He doesn't know the sand.
Can't beat
Not
the
yet.
sand. Sand is time. Can't beat the sand.
Sand beats sand every time. Rock, paper, sand.
That's right.
All right, well, let's dig in. Let's start breaking down the story, and we'll see what thoughts bounce off of us when that happens.
All right.
Tyler, let's do it.
Let's do it. Thankfully, it's a very straightforward plot.
Pretty simple.
There's
You
a
said
guy-
that about The Natural, and that was
That
nearly
was-
2-hour
is
episode.
Actually,
Super plotty.
very weirdly plotty.
Yeah.
This is pretty straight ahead in terms
Yeah.
of there's a guy and then he goes in a hole. He's so a school teacher. He's taking a 3-day vacay, taking a little bug trip, going out to a little village where he's going to try to find a beetle that he can get his name in a textbook about. And
Yeah, what a goal.
What a goal in life.
Yeah.
I will say, so the opening of the film, this was where he's walking and kind of, touring around, really reminded me, and this is just complete recency bias, but I just saw like a clip of Alex Garland talking about the beginning of 28 Days Later, where Cillian Murphy is like walking around deserted, and it kind of gave me those similar feelings. And Garland was saying what was so interesting, and I feel like this applies to us as well, is where it's like it was the adaptation from the script to the movie was so interesting because he was like, I literally wrote like Cillian Murphy walks around. And then it's like Danny Boyle built an entire sequence around him walking around empty London, which is super interesting. And so it's like, oh, okay. So kind of like similarly in the book where it's like we get a lot of him walking around, but you have to imagine like, this is. And I will say in the movie, they do kind of fuck up because they say in the book that you're only supposed to walk towards the sun so that your shadow won't scare the beetles.
I know.
And he was definitely casting a long ass shadow. He would have been scaring beetles every which way. So, anyways,
But he's arguably a somewhat nicer version of the guy in the movie.
it's probably one of the biggest differences in terms of
Yeah.
adaptation is that he's a slightly more
I mean, he goes off the rails, obviously, but like,
kind person. I guess.
we're also not in his head
Yes.
quite as often like we are in the book.
I gotta look up that actor's name because he's the like lover from Hiroshima Mon Amour.
Which is incredible.
He was
What
much
a
more
movie.
handsome than
movie.
I was anticipating.
Yeah,
good-looking guy.
he seems
Yeah.
like a real science nerd in the book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah,
seems
she
a
got
little
a
bit more like a
catch.
normal dude.
Yeah, I was like, damn.
She caught a good one.
Yeah,
I mean,
right? And that
they
whole...
Just pulled out a Chilean sea bass.
Yeah, exactly.
A prize-winning swordfish, you're saying? Just hopped up on the boat?
Right.
I would say that about both of them, probably.
True, they're
I think
both-
they also
they're both
describe
beautiful
her
people.
I mean-
as
Yeah.
kind of not that great looking in the book,
Right.
and she's very beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's even like because the sand is kind of like created welts on her
Yeah,
face.
they got rid of
essentially.
the rashes.
Yeah.
The big rashes in the film.
I guess it would be somewhat distracting, but yeah.
Right, because she's like pancaking like flour on her face to like make herself
Right.
not, yeah.
In the book,
Yeah, I bet
Yes.
it would look really weird in black
Well,
and white.
it looks
too.
strange, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so our two lead characters are played in the film by Eiji Okada. That's the actor from Hiroshima Mon Amour,
We should do that
and
one.
Kyoko
That's the book,
Kishida.
right?
Actually, don't know.
She plays the woman in the dunes.
Is Hiroshima Monomura book.
Or maybe it has a book in like the Criterion thing, like a book essay. Maybe that's why I think
you
it's
maybe
based
you're
on
thinking
a book.
of a booklet.
I'm thinking of a booklet, maybe.
Maybe you're thinking about a booklet.
We could do a booklet.
But you know, like Shortcuts, they had like the whole like short stories.
I mean, honestly,
there,
I
it's
would love to do
possible.
Shortcuts.
I think just because of Marguerite
We're planning
Duras' esteem, they might have just published the screenplay.
Yeah,
that could be. Yeah.
But
I was gonna say I didn't think it was based on it.
yeah, maybe not.
But
we could do The Lover. I don't think that movie's supposed to be very good, but the book is famous. Anyhow,
sorry, Emily. You like how we do
digress.
planning in front of you for
really
other
digress.
episodes?
I'm like, I won't even get to come.
By the
You're
way,
not
you
even gonna
cannot
hear
come
that.
to these.
Yeah,
You
we're
cannot
locked
come to
the doors.
these. Sorry.
Yeah.
So, anyways, Science Man's walking around a small town.
Yeah.
Doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop. And he misses the last bus out of town, and he meets an old guy who's like,
Okay, can we also just mention the very first thing is them discussing what happened to this disappeared person?
Oh, yeah.
right.
In the
not
book?
in the movie,
Yes.
but in the book.
In the book.
In the movie, they
in
made
the
the
book,
very
right.
smart
That
choice
is-
of just waiting till the end.
Well, see, I kind of like it in the book. Now, it's good in the movie for sure.
It's in both places in the book.
Yes, yeah, it works.
But
in
like
the
their
movie
theories
better.
in the book are so fucking cold and insane.
Yes, that is a good point. We should.
Where the
backtrack to this, yeah.
psychologist comes in and was like, well, obviously he's got an obsession with insects, so he's got an Oedipus complex.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
It's
like,
like, what?
if you're really into bugs, you're actually way more likely to be a kleptomaniac and gay.
And
Yeah,
gay.
basically
and
just
you
we
might try
hate
to
you.
kill yourself with the stuff that you
Yeah.
preserve the bugs with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very short walk to that.
And they're
Yeah.
pretty obsessed. It's like another woman because he has a wife,
Yeah, the other.
which
yeah.
the movie doesn't really.
She
They hint
asks,
at it.
but
They
he
hint
doesn't.
at
it's
it,
like it's
and then
of
like
no
at the
concern
end,
to
with
you.
the ending, yeah.
True. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's interesting. It is a very interesting choice to put that up top because it's sort of fatalist, obviously, to be like, okay, so this is probably the story of how this guy goes missing. But there's also this part of me that's like, oh, well, maybe he gets out and he like goes somewhere else or something, like and he's like decides
Right. And
this
then he
experience
just
has changed
decides-
me and I'm gonna go away or whatever.
Yeah.
But so it does kind of give you certainly like a finality to start with that it's like he's now been officially declared dead. But yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting choice.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's truly how the book starts. That's right. Is there's like an official report kind of thing, and then we go into him walking around.
It's like a little mini doc about like,
the
the person he could be,
and
based on people that don't know him.
and it's basically
great.
it's an official document just being like bug guys are weird.
Yeah, bug guys are freaks, right?
I think also the other thing that's different, film to movie to film, film to movie, or film, those are the same things, book to film. Those things are the same. But is that the opening speech that he does, like the voiceover in the movie, is from like far later in the book, I think, and where he's talking about documents and how they like connect us as people and how we like identify each other through documents.
Yeah, like our whole life is documents. Yeah.
That's something I did think was interesting, considering that Kobo Abe wrote both, is that there isn't like a lot of dialogue that's clearly straight from the book. It seems like the scenes are often reinterpreted versions of like events in the book.
Yeah, it's almost like he perfected the story in the movie.
No, that's I mean, gotta wonder if he was trying to do that at least. But I mean, I think
be a little bit, right?
there's like that nice line or it's a nice through line of the documents is just like that this is a town of like no institutions, and he's fading into the no institution town.
That's right.
Disappearing off the map.
Yeah. And cities have all these different things, and including like bureaucracy in this place.
Yes.
It's not really has sort of exists under its own paperworkless rules, certainly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's on vacation.
He's vacating hard. He's
Having
finding
a guy.
bugs.
Having a great day.
And then meets an old man.
Who's like, why are you taking pictures? Are you a narc?
Yeah. You work for the government? Will the government come and find you?
Yeah.
Basically. And he's like, nah, I'm a teacher.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah. And they're like, oh, well, what are we going to do? The last bus is gone. He's like, oh, I'd love to find a place to sleep for the night. And they're like, well, we got a spot for you.
Yeah, we sure do.
It's and he's like, good. I prefer people's homes.
Which is kind of, maybe it's of the time
I
and
think it's
culture.
of the time
It's a cultural
culturally.
But I was
yeah.
like, that's a weird thing to say. But okay,
yeah,
I'll
I'd
allow
love
it.
to
I'll
crash
allow
at
it.
somebody's house.
Yeah.
And they said, we got a spot for you. Take this rope ladder down.
I wouldn't worry about the rope ladder.
Don't worry about the rope ladder.
It's always going to be here. It's going to be here when you wake up.
Super
I
strong.
wouldn't worry about the ladder at all.
Big, strong.
The funniest
It
thing
is the only way out, though.
is because of time, I did the audiobook instead of reading it.
Same.
I was kind of like doing dishes or something during that part, and I misunderstood, and I thought the rope ladder was up. So at first I was just like, what does it matter? He could just jump down, right? And then it's like, oh no, he is down. He took the rope ladder down into a pit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. To be clear, there's a pit with a house inside the pit and a woman in the house.
I wonder if it's something with the wording, because I also
or a dune,
was
if you
a
will.
little
Or a dune.
confused
Not
with
a pit,
how
a
it
dune.
all worked in the book.
Yeah, okay.
So I had to like rewind that section a little bit too, because I was a little bit confused. Maybe it was just the person reading. I don't know. He was kind of a snooze fest.
So did all three of we
I also
hosts-
listened to so does I, and he was not.
I really
he didn't give it a
should've-
lot. He
I
didn't
know,
give it
I
a
know.
lot.
Emily's holding up
My
the
physical copy.
We got busy
physical
lives.
media
you know?
matters.
Yeah, I'm really
We got super busy lives.
unfortunately, in case the person's a listener, don't want to diss them too hard, but
I don't think he's bad,
It was a
yeah.
fairly dry reading.
And to be fair, a lot of the book is very dry. It's a lot about
It
a guy
is.
talking
You guys miss all
about
the
dry
pictures.
sand. Oh, I did.
Oh, it does have little illustrations.
It has a ton of little pictures.
It's true. We did miss it on the picture.
I missed those in the Lauren Michaels bio I just listened to too. I had no idea there were any photos at all. And it's like, young Lauren?
Ugh.
They can't describe that to me
I
in
thought
an
they were
audiobook.
going to be his little drawings of bugs
Ah,
and men looking up at him from.
they could be. I didn't see them. I don't know. I have no idea what's in there.
Yeah, that's where you got the
Maybe
idea
Lauren
for
does
Saturday Night
doodle.
Live.
I don't know.
Maybe.
And they would
That
doodle.
man doesn't have time to doodle.
He doesn't got time to doodle. He's just eating popcorn and making comedy. Okay. He's in a hole. He's in a big dune now, and he meets a woman who lives in the hole in the house, and they're it's a weird relationship right off the bat, I feel like. Yeah. She's, again, covered in welts, so she's got a bunch of white flour on her face.
Yeah.
And basically she's like, yeah, you can camp out here for the night.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, can I take a bath? And she's like, water won't be here till the day after tomorrow. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm leaving tomorrow. And she's like,
sure.
yeah,
Totally.
That's what you think.
Yeah.
That's what you think, dog.
Can I also say something like something that I was trying to like think about with the book, and certainly I think it's more so in the movie. He is like absolutely convinced that she's just like with the villagers, and it's like, is it not possible that she was also just thrown in this situation and it's just accepted? Like the whole time I was like, how are you not even entertaining this idea?
That she is as much of a prisoner as you are.
Yes, and it's
Prisoner in the
insane. It's insane.
It's part of his tunnel vision that I hated.
Crazy.
I'm just
I
like,
hate it,
just
dude.
take a breath and think
Yeah.
about someone that's not you, my friend.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. But yeah, she kind of is like, I am because like the house before ours got swallowed and and so I'm like now the person who's living on. I'm the boy with his finger in the dike, kind of keeping the town going, and that's it basically. So it is like a weird, like almost like by circumstance. But then she's also like, but I love my hometown.
I don't know, man.
Who doesn't love your hometown?
I don't know if she loves it.
I think that plot-wise, the book and the movie are very similar, but I think characterization-wise, like you were also talking about how like the main guy seems like less of a pill in the movie. I also think she's warmer and more ingratiating in the movie, whereas I think we get a sense of her being closed off maybe because she feels like anger is impending. Like in the first encounter, she's like, the less I say, maybe the better, because when this guy finds out what these guys are going to do, he's going to get mad at me.
Yeah.
So she's
But
like,
she's
kind
also
of,
like super excited to not be alone.
well, I mean, in the movie,
Feeling for her,
certainly, like that's her vibe. But yeah.
Well, when your husband and child have been swallowed by sand,
Yeah, it's pretty tragic.
you're probably
Is it clear what happens to the child? Because like
I think so. They were both out in the storm.
Oh, they were both out.
Yeah,
And-
yeah.
That's what I'd assume.
Yeah, that's like what she says. Is like they're both out there.
Okay.
right.
Yeah, and storm, sand,
Sandstorm, strong,
They got swallowed
Smush.
up by the sand.
swallowed by the sand. Yeah,
and then had been
Along
alone
with the
for-
chickens.
The whole chicken coop gone. It's you're correct. The characters. She is a little warmer. It is interesting, and like you say, like her being a prisoner in this situation. Like I think it's an interesting comment of the sort of time that it's like, oh right, if once there's a man here, then they throw down cigarettes and vodka for him. Yeah, they don't care about me.
Don't give a shit.
Yeah.
She just wants that fucking radio, man.
That's so bad.
she just wants that radio. I think it's like I think a little bit more in the book too. It's like she's a little. there's that part where he's talking about how all she is good at talking about is the sand, and like she really lights up. She's really like lights up and is so charismatic when she's talking about sand. But other than it's what she knows and what she loves, and I think that she's a little more like feminine and charming in her way in the movie. Yeah. A little bit.
Yeah.
A little less singularly focused.
Yeah.
It is still all sand.
It is a lot of sand talk.
Yeah.
Understandably.
I mean.
Well, yeah, I mean, then basically, I guess, that first night, he notices her womanly figure.
Well, also
right?
I think also to point out, slowly the whole house is getting covered in sand.
Oh yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah, including in that moment her body.
But when she makes him dinner, she puts an umbrella over the table.
Yeah, and he's
indoors.
Like, "What's wrong with the roof?"
And she's like 2 inches of sand could accumulate right now.
Yeah, if I don't sweep up, like we'll basically be swallowed up.
So there's constant sand infiltration.
Yeah, which is I would call that a strong visual metaphor.
Oh, also it took the film for me to be like when he's trapping the insects in bottles.
Oh yeah,
I was like, that's another metaphor. Somebody's going to get trapped in a metaphorical bottle in this story.
It's as if the guy trapping things in bottles will be trapped in his own bottle. Yeah, it's good. That's good.
And you know what bottles are made out of? Or what glass is made out of?
Dude. Whoa. How did they think of this?
How did they think of it?
That's
it's
really
so
good.
crazy.
It is.
Everything is sand.
Everything is sand.
Everything.
I think that's like, I actually think he makes that point about glass at some point, and I was like, that's crazy.
That is fucking nuts. Honestly, it's really cool. The sand stuff in the movie, also the very opening, is very cool of like you're seeing it in different, like there's that like extreme close-up where it's like, you see like every individual little grain and then like it's moving across. Like, they do a great job of shooting sand.
Well, I mean, I think that's the thing. I think without getting too deep because we're still unreeling the story, but like I think the book is extremely good at sort of unpacking the philosophy of its main character in this sort of existential way. And the movie is good at just coming up with visual strategies to be like, it's mostly people hanging out in sand. And often that sand is really compelling.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful movie.
Yeah, it does look really great. And there's a lot of great, there's just a lot of great stuff. With him, in terms of the visual storytelling of him being trapped, it's like every time, like, I think it's like every 5 minutes there's a different shot of him between bars or like something.
Oh yeah, like slats of wood and stuff,
or like something over his head. Like there's very early when he's like, "Oh, this house is a wreck" or something, and there's like a beam hanging down that like perfectly frames his head, and you're like, "Oh, you're trapped in here. You're already trapped. We see it."
Yeah,
because we're the audience. We know you're trapped.
It takes him a while to get there, but he gets there in the end.
Yeah.
Which then basically, so I said obviously there becomes some sort of like, well, like he is obviously attracted to her on some level, some deep level.
She like sleeps naked.
Yeah.
Because of sand reasons.
Because of sand, she doesn't want rashes.
Yeah.
The rash thing.
But I also love in the book his rationalization that he's like, but she's covered in sand. That's not hot. It's like, come on. You're looking at a naked lady. I think you're enjoying it. Main character guy.
Yeah.
Sand, no sand, whatever.
She's still hot.
But then it really just essentially becomes, right, he is in disbelief that he is in this situation for a certain amount of time, and then a series of escape attempts, and we can kind of get into those.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the first...
Also, my man enjoys her cooking. The way he was scarfing down that fucking rice, dude.
Yeah.
I was like, did he actually eat that during the take? He's packing it in, dude. I was like, he's eating that for real.
If they did several takes of this, he would have been so full of rice.
He's bursting, yeah.
And rice expands in your stomach. It's a very filling meal.
But yeah, I mean, as you were saying earlier, basically, so after the next morning, they take away the rope ladder, and thus begins the like, wait, no.
Yeah,
I don't think actually.
And he's like, I know what I'll do. I'll use this shovel, and I will climb up the side of this steep
It's a good first attempt.
Yeah.
mound of sand.
It is. It's a great where he's like, I got like 5 steps, and then I like looked down and I was like, oh, I am still so far.
Yeah.
And he's like, I've used every ounce of my strength to get these 5 steps.
I do think the like sheer terror of that comes off better in the book than in the movie, because in the movie it's just like kind of like a man pawing at sand, like
Right.
like, it looks a little
Yeah.
goofy, but it's like in the book it's more like his like hand disappears deeply into the sand and it's like horrifying.
Yeah.
The writing of that is really
Yeah.
Yeah,
good.
some of his inner monologue is a little bit lost
Yeah, totally.
in the movie, but I think
But-
the movie is visually stronger, obviously.
course, yeah.
But
yeah, like that. It's like, but just sand slowly falling away.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, this looks a little wimpy.
Yeah,
You
it's
can't
not
conquer the sand.
you didn't
man.
really even try, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, we did also kind of like skip over like the labor that is like
yes.
why he's being trapped there.
Right. Yes. So that very first night, right, he's like, I'm going to go to sleep. And she's like, well, that's fine. Don't worry. It's your first night. You don't have to work. And he's like, what do you mean?
Yeah,
And
what are
she's
you
like,
talking about?
Well, I'm going to go scoop this sand into a kerosene can, and then they're going to pulley it up out of here and do that all night.
and listeners, just so you know, it's because sand at night is easier to shuffle.
Yeah, because there's a little moisture in it.
There's a little moisture in it. It's really important to know more about sand.
Know more
Yeah.
about sand. There's a lot to know about sand.
Yeah.
And of course he's like, but sand is dry.
But sand is dry.
Sand
It's
is
a dry.
dry.
Yeah.
Deserts are dry, you silly woman.
You
Maybe that's
stupid woman.
Maybe
it's
that's
dry.
his actual character arc is when he realizes eventually there is water in sand.
Yeah. It becomes
That's a huge,
It is a
huge moment for him.
yeah. It kind of changes everything. We'll get to
Yeah.
it.
We'll get to it, yeah.
But yeah, so that's, yes, exactly. So she's doing the work, and he's like, I'm going to go to sleep. And he's like, I can't. What's going on? Why is this happening? And then, yes, he awakes, and then, right. So then the rope ladder's gone, and then it's like the second night, and then they're like, hey, we're going to throw down some tools for the helper. And they're like, huh? What's that? It's like, that's you, dog. You're the helper. And so then
He just like yells and is like, no, I'm not
I'm
going
not
to do
doing
this. You can't
this.
do this to me.
Yeah.
Just,
I'm
you
going
know,
to cause a real sting.
Fair enough.
Blah, blah, blah.
He's like, people are going to be searching for me.
yes, right. Right, which there is that moment where someone's like, if they're not going to find you in 10 days, they're never going to find you at all. And it's like a real 48 hours
Yeah.
Yeah.
dateline.
I also like his bizarre rationalization, like, if anyone goes in my room and sees the way this book is left
Yeah.
open and the fact that I didn't withdraw money from my bank account,
Yeah.
they'll know. They'll
And
be
I'm
like,
like-
oh, he couldn't have just gone
Yeah.
off and killed himself.
Did you even tell your wife where you were going?
I don't think it's his wife. I thought it was just like a girlfriend.
Oh, okay.
Because at the end,
Yeah.
the
Special friend.
person in the report is his mother.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true.
Which I kept being like, is this book open to a page in a map that is where you are? Like, I don't
Right.
understand why you're so convinced this open book
case
is
anyone
going to
asks,
help you,
this
my
is
friend.
where I've gone, yeah.
But no, it didn't seem to be. So yes, he's convinced people.
Wait, he
are
was
gonna
clearly
come.
mid-thought. He can't have not wanted to come back to this thought.
There's a single word underlined. It's Dune. I wonder what it could mean.
Dune. Yeah. So I mean, basically, right. He's like in denial for a long stretch,
Yeah.
and kind of does several things to sort of get out of. Well, so then he tries another escape, right, where he's like, I'm gonna just like knock this dune down, right? In
Yeah.
which case, like a sand avalanche that may or may not have hurt his back.
Yeah.
Oh,
It didn't.
yeah.
And then
He's
then he
faking her.
just
He's a
uses
fake
it to gold
faker.
brick.
Yeah.
But it's also funny in the book too, because he's like, I'm just gonna be lazy so that way I have the energy to like make escapes during the day, and then during the day he's still too tired.
Also, in the
This guy
book,
is
he's
so
like, I'm a fucking genius.
Yeah.
She doesn't even understand that I'm steering the conversation this way. It's like insane, bro. He was infuriating. Like his inner thoughts were kind of really, really taking me away.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, he's frustrating in the movie, but there is I think maybe just because of the appealingness of the actor, there's a little more everyman, a little less just like insufferable nerd.
Yeah.
Just like this is incremental, but I think this is true.
It does seem to, it helps. You're more endeared to him. Well, yeah, you also don't have access to his most inner thoughts of how he's a genius and
Right.
this
Yeah.
woman's
Right.
a moron
Jesus, dude.
at every turn.
Yeah.
So then, yeah, right. So he fakes being injured, which then he uses to like, I'm gonna disrupt her workflow by being so annoying with how injured I am for so long. In the book, this is at least in the movie, it's a little different. They don't quite.
It's a little more streamlined.
It's a little
yeah.
more straightforward where
Yeah.
basically like he pretends to be injured and then there's a moment where he's like, I'm in a lot of pain. And then he like jumps at her and like ties her up.
Yeah.
And then
really convincing, like body spasm.
You're like,
Right.
And then
whoa, and then
She's like, I can give you a
I don't know if
massage.
you
And he's
needed
like, don't you dare massage me.
no one touch me. But the spinal nerves are
Yeah.
important. Yeah, which is
I will say almost all of his attempts are just like so fucking cruel to her.
yeah.
I mean, I get
Down to
that
the
it's
very
the only
last
person
one.
that he can
down
talk
to the
to,
very
but I'm
last
like,
one.
buddy, think of someone other than yourself once, please, once.
Yeah. It's tough.
Especially when she's like, my horror of like waking up in the morning is that I'll be alone
being
again.
alone, yeah.
And like his first thing is that he's like, I'm gonna wait till she's asleep.
I'm
to
going to
leave.
escape in the night.
So she wakes up and it's just like, oh no, I'm alone again. It's so fucked up, man.
Yeah. Well, that's like the next big attempt, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
Well,
nice
I mean,
attempt, yeah.
so there's the one you're talking about where he's like, she's all tied up. You
Right.
gotta
Oh,
pull,
yes.
you
Yeah,
gotta
which-
pull me up the rope. Like,
So
like
then
yeah.
yeah.
which straight up feels like a moment in a Samuel Beckett play where they slowly bring him up the rope and then it just stops.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, motherfucker's about to get dropped.
Yeah.
Even if I didn't know what was going to happen, I was like, oh, and then
Holding, and then in a hilarious shot. Truly could have been out of like a Three Stooges.
Yeah.
Like the way he hits the turf is so fucking funny.
But it's also like,
Same,
what were
I
you
should say.
thinking? They don't give a shit about this woman.
Right. They do
At
not care
all. She
about
is
her.
in the dune with you.
Yeah.
And he
They
does,
don't
like,
give a shit.
Yeah, he starts to like give these speeches to her where he's like trying to convince her of like how she's as in just as shitty of a position as him.
Right.
Well, I think when he starts to realize that she is also
oh yeah, when he's like, she's not a collaborator, she's also being exploited. And then it's like, throw off your shackles, join me in my ill.
Don't you want to go on a walk?
It's
Do you know
She's
how
like,
nice it is
I
to go
used
on
to
a
walk
walk?
all the time. I don't like it.
It was not for me.
It was not for me. I don't like walking.
And it's also, we don't know how long she's been down there. It's been quite some time.
It's been a long time,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Also, is the implication, so at some point, he's like, have they ever done this to anybody else before? And there was like a postcard salesman.
Yeah.
There was a
student.
Yeah.
But did that imply that they were down in her hole?
I thought they were in different holes the way it was.
Well, because the
described.
one guy apparently is still at the neighbors or whatever.
Yeah, she was
Okay.
like,
Which
he's
we
three
never-
holes
yeah.
over.
Yeah.
I forget because I feel like there are
Great
some
guy.
details that are specific to certain versions. Like I feel like
Right.
they're a little more forthcoming with some backstory in the movie, just to sort of make this situation make sense. And I feel like, yeah, that's the kind of thing is like, yeah, that one guy, he's still there.
I think it's
he
like
loves
those
being
things
abducted.
are in the book, but they get really buried in the prose. It's really easy to miss those details, like in the book for sure.
Yeah.
You mean when you're doing dishes and listening to an audiobook? I don't know
Yeah,
what you're
but
talking
even reading it, it's just
I feel like they do say in the book that the first guy dies, right? Like they kill him or he dies
Yeah.
immediately. The postcard salesman doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't think they kill. I think it's just he's not fit for labor
And doesn't survive.
But if their whole scheme is to like, get the sand for their nefarious purposes, like obviously you got to get more than one person.
you gotta have a lot of people
you
down
gotta
there
have a
digging.
lot of people.
I don't know why it
understand.
has to be a slave, but hey, it's not my village, I don't know.
Hey, not your village, not your
Because
monkeys.
It's cheaper that way. It's
Right,
cheap.
as
I don't
they
know
decided-
if you know
Yeah.
about slave labor.
Yeah, it's cheap.
It's cheaper.
Super cheap.
Famously very cheap.
Yeah.
Which I mean, literally, there's a moment where he's like, "Why don't they do a tree fence?" And she's like, "Don't you know they've looked into it? It's cheaper
It's
to
cheaper
do it this way.
to keep people in holes.
Keep people in holes and dig."
Yeah.
And it's almost like
his
they're
plan's
saying
like,
something.
What if you bring tourists here? And it's like tourists want like water.
You're right. That you would need a hot spring. Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, she's like, you would need a hot spring, you fucking idiot.
If you
How
wanted
does it
a nice
feel,
hotel,
buddy?
Yeah. It's like, ooh,
You
hot
have
spring.
dumb ideas
We
too.
don't
Yeah.
even know why you came here. You
Yeah.
like bugs. You're gross.
So gross.
You're a weirdo. So yes, he ties her up. They don't care. They drop his ass. It's hilarious. And then at a certain point, he gets on board with the shoveling.
Well, I think it's because they
They
He
start
wants
to
the
withhold
water.
water.
drive him to thirst.
Yeah,
Just
they
like-
begin to withhold water. And right when he first unties her, right, isn't he like, "You will not, do not do the sand. Don't do your
the
sand
book,
job."
yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the book. Yeah.
And she's like,
And-
okay.
I guess I won't.
Okay.
And then they start to drive them to thirst.
Yeah.
Which it is this thing of like, but if you don't do your sand job, you will also be engulfed in sand eventually.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a tough, kind of a lose-lose situation.
Yeah, I don't know who he's fooling, man.
Yeah,
Well, it is interesting in the book that he does let her go, and she just kind of just keeps being like, they will give us water the minute you start working, bro.
They're going to drop
the
it down.
The minute you start working,
it's
they'll
almost
give us
like
pick
water.
up that shovel, water's coming down.
It's almost like I've been down here for a long time and I know how it fucking works, guy. It's your first week and you're the floorman all of a sudden? Crazy.
It's kind of like how you came into Skylight.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, you sort of asserted your dominance right away, right off the bat.
Drop kick the first person I saw. Yeah.
Thankfully, it wasn't Emily. So that's a big one. Yes, they do like kind of basically drive him mad with thirst until he starts to work. But then he like slow. So then he kind of like he almost feels like he gets into a vibe with it. But then the next sort of attempt is he's like, I'm going to build a ladder out of here, and I'm going to use this shovel to like knock down the house basically, and use the wood to build a ladder.
Yeah.
And they get in a little physical altercation over the shovel, and sparks start to fly.
Yeah,
and that's all I'm gonna say.
Oh yeah, she's like, please, it's my fucking house. The
Yeah,
whole deal is like, don't want this house to go away.
Yeah.
And then he also does reveal that the house is rotting as well in the book, where it's like, again, he's like, that can't happen. It's sand. It doesn't rot stuff.
Yeah.
And he's like, whoa, the beams are rotting just like you said.
Said, fuck, damn, I'm stupid.
Yeah.
I'm a dumb idiot.
Maybe I don't know everything.
Maybe I don't. But then they consummate their very new relationship.
Yeah. You think it was a little early?
I think it went a little early.
Well,
When you're down on a dune.
I will
like
say I buy it a
week
little
3
bit
kinda
more
thing.
in the movie just because I think the camera is so much more doing so many sensual close-ups.
Oh,
on
that
Yeah.
sensual,
So
like,
much.
wiping off the sand scene?
Yeah,
Yeah.
oh my
Come
God.
on, buddy.
I was like, it must have been so nice when you're a single lady down in a hole for a long
Yeah.
time to just have a man come by and just wipe the sand
Yeah.
off of you. I was like, that seems
Yeah, it really
nice.
like
It's
focuses
not-
on her, like really like being, oh my God,
Oh
thank
my God.
God.
Thank God. Yeah, exactly. Just
God.
like, thank
Yeah.
God.
She hasn't
hard
had a
out here.
person touch her
Yeah.
in
We don't know.
years,
Who knows?
probably.
Yeah.
Since
Yeah.
the swallowing of her husband.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. God, I really feel for the woman in the Dune,
Oh
man.
They're
my God.
such
yeah.
a tragic
Really
fucking
tough.
life,
Such-
dude.
yeah.
There are amazing shots of her too. Like there's like he'll like close up of like her under chin to neck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that neck matted hair moment is
So uncomfortable.
Yeah.
That's also why I feel like we get a little closer to her because, like, while he's babbling about his nonsense, like, we get to see, like, her actual reactions
Yeah.
to things.
It is true.
Especially, like, that little, like, tragic when she wakes up, she's like, maybe tomorrow.
Oh,
Or
yeah.
one more day or
Oh,
something like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, one more
and
day.
it's like her mantra she probably says this every day.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, my fucking God, dude.
Yeah. That's
But-
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, also like the difference between them consummating their relationship. Why do you make me sound so prudish?
You repeated it.
In the movie, it's like a
you
really
can say it however
it's
you
a
want.
really
Seal the deal.
extended sex scene.
Yeah.
And in the book, it's like him talking about how he had like a venereal disease, and then they were talking about like
Oh,
a
man.
disease of the mind, like a spiritual.
Oh, yeah.
venereal
Oh,
disease.
yeah. You have a
And that was like,
spirit.
and that was them fucking. Like it
Yeah,
wasn't.
it's like normally with my lady in the city, I wear a rubber because I'm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not sure I'm not spreading
Yeah.
the herp or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, he only refers to it as a hat, I believe.
Jimmy hat,
and
I
how it
believe,
does
yeah.
it's not as good when he's wearing a hat, I think is
Yeah.
like specifically mentioned.
Yeah.
The movie makes it very I mean, like, yeah, their chemistry in the movie is just
more.
fucking electric.
Yeah, it's
No.
all-
I don't know if it's electric, but it's more than the book.
It's
just like
yes, it is
mechanical.
more than the she doesn't have electricity, so
Yeah.
it's something close to that. It's campfire.
Yes, there
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah.
God, even just I'm sorry, this is a real like backtrack, but like just even the moment when she's like, I have one lantern, and she's like, I'm gonna go work outside, and he's like, cool, I'm just gonna hang on to the lantern in the house, not really using it. I just like to have light.
Yeah.
You don't need to work with light, do you?
Just like, I mean, I guess not. I guess not. You know,
I guess just putting sand in a bucket. I could probably do that in the dark. I guess
Yeah.
I have to.
sort of
Even
lonely,
if I miss,
but
I'll just
okay.
get more sand. So.
You're not very nice to me, are you?
Yeah, so that happens, and then he kind of they kind of get into a rhythm a little bit, but he's like still plotting his escape.
Yeah.
And then the next one, right, he's like making a rope. He's fashioning a rope.
Right.
And then he's able to make sort of a claw thing.
Yeah.
What would you like?
I don't know, man. It's like a little
wooden scissor
anchor thing. I don't know.
Yeah, it also has a scissor on it.
Scissors on there. Yeah.
Just because he wants to get the pole that's at the top of the hole where the rope ladder would be hung from.
Yeah.
And just
like sort of like something off like a Batman utility belt.
Yeah, he's sort of a
invention.
Batman.
He's kind of a Batman, if you will.
He's kind of a Batman.
There's
grapple hook.
Grapple.
Yes.
Thank
grapple.
We got there.
There, I was like, really thinking, like, what is that called?
Oh, it's gonna kill me.
Oh my god.
Yeah, appreciate it. So there is a very cute moment in the movie that I like to share where he's like, I want to trim my whiskers.
Oh yeah.
And then he like, oh, these scissors don't work. And then he like pulls her in and is like, see, my whiskers are hard when I got sand in them, which is the thing I do to Audrey all the time.
Of course.
After you've been playing in the sand.
After I've been playing in the sand and I just like, look at my whiskers with sand in it. Things like that. And then I'm like, it's exfoliating. She laughs and laughs.
Sure.
So then, yes, he's using this all to build an escape. And he tries again. Yeah. And then this time he actually gets out of the dune. And then he's running around. And then he runs around. He's like, thinks he's running away from the town. Then he ends up in the town. And that kind of alerts them. And they start chasing him. Yeah. And then he ends up in quicksand.
But before that, he's like, yeah, I mean, when I get out of here, like, I'm going to send her a fucking radio.
Oh, yeah. I got to
she deserves a radio, I
really
guess.
Does.
Not freedom, but a radio, surely.
She just wants that radio.
Shut up about this fucking radio.
This fucking radio. Every day I come home, she's talking about the radio.
Oh, yeah, because she's been doing piecework to get extra money to set aside to buy a radio.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Which, is a thing that's... It comes slightly later. I feel like it's like after this escape attempt that he comes back in the movie that she's like, I'm going to start doing that because a radio is going to make you feel better.
Yeah.
But in the book, it's a little earlier. Yeah. But I'm also now trying to imagine him addressing the package of the radio to her from Tokyo, being like, that town
Dune
with the
Dune
1.
I didn't think she was in the first Dune.
She's Dune. Yeah, she's got to be Dune 1. Yeah, it's true.
I
think
the prime so. Dune.
And then it always moves to the next house once it's been swallowed by the sand.
Sure.
Yeah,
then
your
that
address
becomes
might
one.
Might change a lot. Yeah.
Postman knows where it goes. It'll get there. Yeah. Sorry, what were you going to say, Jim?
Oh, nothing. It's just one of those interesting streamlinings for the movie where in the book they talk about how there's like a fire watch team that's like always watching the hole and would see him run away. And so he has to like basically create a diversion to get past them. But in the movie, no one really cares until clearly the alarm's been like, that dude's on the run. And then you just see all these flashlights coming after him.
Which is very evocative and very cool. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Which is also one of those things, too, where you're like, oh, right, this is modern times. People have flashlights, just not the people in the pit.
Yes. Right. Yeah. There are other modern conveniences out there. That is because, right, there's the whole fire thing where, like, he can signal with fire up to them as well because they're watching. Right. Anyway, which becomes more important later. But,
Would it be a hand crank radio? Then?
Right, because she can't plug it into shit. Batteries, maybe? But then she's got to always be buying new batteries.
Yeah.
Well, batteries and water, That's how they keep her in
burying
the line.
batteries next to you in the sand?
I don't know if she deserves the radio.
Wow.
Use it.
Damn.
It is tough, yeah.
Tough.
I guess hand crank. Yeah,
I mean, it's really hand crank.
Hand crank?
It's fine.
What if she gets what if she gets a CB radio and she's like, trucker, 1, 2,
Oh,
yeah, 2.
she'd have so much fun.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Smokey and the Bandit style. That would be great for her. So then she can talk to people anywhere.
Yeah.
The Bandit style.
It's Woman in the Dune meets Convoy.
Sure.
We got a band.
Yeah.
Eastbound and down in the sand pit.
That's right.
Loaded up and sanding.
Okay, we'll work on it.
It's not so bad.
It's not great, though.
It's not great. It's not great, but it's not bad. So that was like a big, and then needs to be requests like help to get out of the quicksand, and they dig him out of the sand.
Yeah.
And then drop him right back in his fucking
But I
hole.
also love how he still doesn't get sand because they're like, okay, we're going to get this board to help get you out. And he's like, no, just take my rope. And they're like, you moron.
Were you gonna
we can't
pull
just
you
go
out?
like, bloop, and take you out. Like, we got to dig you out and then
And he's
put
like,
you on
yes,
the
I
board."
know sand. I know.
I'm a teacher.
I'm making
a
sure
sand teacher.
you know. Yeah.
But I also love the burn that's in both versions where they're just like, yeah, even the dogs know not to run around here because of the fucking quicksand, you moron.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, right, exactly. So yeah, they take him out on a board because he doesn't know how sand works, and then he's back in the hole. And then he this is really sort of like the mental end game for him once that kind of goes wrong. Because the next big attempt, the next thing he's got going is like the crow thing, right?
Well, the crow is kind of a mess.
Yeah, it doesn't really, it's not a good plan.
It's my least favorite plan.
It's the least cruel to her, though.
That's true.
Making a crow trap.
Openly talking about it in front of her in a way that I'm like, he's like, they're gonna get me out of here. I'm gonna write a note on this crow's leg, and I'm fucking gone,
Where's
lady.
the crow
I'm on a jet. I'm out of here.
oh, right. I forgot that the whole point of capturing the crow was to put a message on its leg.
Yeah.
That's so silly.
And then somebody somewhere will find
Maybe.
His message.
his
They'll
message.
be like,
Maybe.
I did think him leaving that book open was ridiculous,
So
and now we have this
weird.
crow
He's-
message.
Yeah.
He's alive.
Excuse me, does that crow have a fucking letter on its leg?
Am
I need to go
absolutely
look at that
insane
Yeah.
right now.
That is
Somebody could be
nuts.
stuck in a hole somewhere.
I better get on it.
I better
Better get on it.
It's I've heard of a message on a bottle, but a message on a crow's
Obviously,
leg.
it's a desperate man's last attempt. you know.
So he's doing that for a while.
Because I think we're supposed to assume that he sort of has acquiesced for 3 months and is just like, all right, I'll shovel.
Yeah, because I don't really have another plan cooking, so I'll try this. I'll be shoveling, and they're and this is where we kind of get into like, right? They're selling the sand at like half price to like building companies, and he's like, well, when a dam or a building collapses, that's a problem.
Yeah, because salty sand not so good for building,
It's
but
not so good, and she has to be like, well, that's their problem.
Yeah.
that's you city folks' nonsense.
Yeah, this sand is fine for me to live in.
Yep. I'm doing fine here.
I'm doing real.
Hey, I
good.
wash my dishes in this sand. It's great.
Yep, that's right. Oh, that is like, yeah. He's like, I like when she does that, and he's like, he watches her, and he's like, I guess good enough.
I would have used water, but yeah, whatever.
I guess it's fine. Yeah, so I mean, that's basically, he's doing the crow for a while.
But never gets the crow.
Never gets a crow, but what does he get?
Water.
Water from the sand.
Because the way he was going to catch the crow was he dug a hole in like a little bucket and like essentially made a well.
Yeah, he made a little. Yes, he made a
He
well.
invented wells.
He didn't know that he was doing that.
No, he was like, that's so odd. How did I do this?
Yeah, he just goes one day to look and see if there's a crow, and instead, water.
Right, because it's basically like
And
there's
then
a
he
little bit
immediately
of.
tells her, "You were right all along. I was so wrong."
Yep.
Oh wait, that doesn't happen.
Wait, no,
Yeah,
Damn.
he actually doesn't tell
Okay.
anyone about the water.
That is true.
Yeah, he just sort of holds on to that information.
Well, what I was going to say is, but like that's kind of like his up after his absolute bottom out, in which he is the worst person in the history of ever.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
the villagers suck too. Let's
Oh,
just
yeah.
Yeah. Wait. Oh, does that happen?
In both versions, it's at like different times of day in movie versus book, but in both cases, he's been like, "It's been 3 months. I'd like to walk around.
right.
I've been a good boy."
Yeah.
And they're like, let's think about this.
The village council will
Yeah.
mull on your
He's
offer.
waiting for the crow. He's yet to find water.
Yeah.
And he goes to the council to see if he could go on a little walk.
He just wants to walk about.
Yeah, to look at the ocean sometime.
To see
And
the
council's
ocean.
like, "Look, we talked to the fellas, and we want to see you two get it on."
That's our deal.
That's
Take
our
it or
deal.
leave it, pal.
And by get it on, I mean right now. We're all here. We're ready to go.
Some of us are banging drums.
Some of us are banging
Some
drums.
of us got weird masks on. Sort of like an Eyes Wide Shut thing happening. And
Well, I think that's. I mean, I don't know. Never mind. I don't know this.
I think it's a cultural thing.
I know it's a cultural thing, but I think specifically with that
Speak on it, Allan.
instrument.
Yeah,
Oh, yes.
like
No.
the drum and the
yeah.
mask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know what it's called, so I'm not even going to pretend that I
But
know what the fuck I'm
it's
talking
cultural.
They come ready to party, basically.
Yeah, they're ready to go.
End of story there. And it's a tough moment in book and movie, obviously.
Well, it's so odd because I feel like it's the moment that every synopsis, like the Wikipedia synopsis is like, he's stuck in a hole. And then the villagers are like, do it in front of us.
Yes.
And then the book, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh.
But like, it's really like, no, this is the dramatic nadir and the like crumbling moment of their relationship.
Yeah.
Because he's like, well, you know what? If they will let me see the sea, I'm willing to get degraded right now.
just
How
gonna
about you?
assault you.
Degradation.
Degradation.
She's like, not
He
really.
says- no, let's not sink to that level.
Yeah.
Right.
And then he said, no, let's do it. Even if you don't want to.
Even if you don't want to. He does offer to just pretend.
Just pretend. Let's
Well,
just
that's
pretend.
after he's already
Yeah.
tried to drag her
he's been
into it.
trying
Yeah.
at that point. It's
Yes.
bad. No,
Yeah.
I mean, it's very
It's
bad.
super bad, yeah.
In the movie, it starts off, they're in the house, but we don't see them because we're looking down with the other people. And I'm like, is this going to be tasteful? And it's like, oh, no, he's going to drag her out of the house. It's going to be a tough fight.
Yeah.
She does fight him off, essentially.
Yeah.
And I think he also just sort of comes to a breaking point where he's like, I'm not going to do it. But it's bad. It's tough. It's a real, as low as, I think she physically hurts him, but she's clearly
there's a moment where he's writhing in pain and she's writhing, but just emotionally crumbling.
Yeah. And it's obviously the farthest that the sort of metaphor can go, right? In terms of and now we're going to just ask you to be your most base level for our entertainment, basically. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We already basically don't see you as people. You're just labor, and now we're going to ask you to do the only thing that you kind of can do to escape from that for us, for our enjoyment, and make you feel gross about it.
And am I misremembering? Because I also think this might have been in an interview with the director or something like that. Is there something in the novel about this moment about him talking about the communal aspect of this thing? Is we would just all be people in a moment if we did this. It's not they would be watching us. It'd be we'd all share this moment of awfulness.
Yeah. Which is, that's major of him to suggest that, because before he's been, this huge barrier between him and this village is his sense of self. And that's a huge moment of him being I could be part of this. Not that he wants to, he just really is still thinking about himself. He wants to go to sea.
Yeah.
It makes it's the thought is starting to creep in. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I might just have to sacrifice you again, as I've sacrificed you so many times this whole
pretty
journey.
much every time.
So then he finds water in his bucket that he buried in the thing, and then he feels better.
He doesn't get to see the sea.
He doesn't get to see the sea. No, they don't do it. No sea, but he does find water in a bucket, and then he gets excited about that, and he's like, "Whoa, we don't even need them for water anymore. We can get our own water."
That's kind of what the thing about the is oh, actually, maybe I don't need them. Yeah. Maybe I don't need the communal aspect of this thing. I can just make some water myself.
Do it myself. Mm-hmm. I'm an individual. And that's basically where then she starts to fall ill, right? Am I missing something between
I think it's one of those moments where a lot of time passes. And
yes, there is a large
status quo. He's doing his water thing, perfecting it.
Oh yeah, he's drawing a lot of diagrams.
He's doing math.
Doing math. He's
measuring
things. Time is passing. Water is growing. And sometimes not.
And and something else might be growing.
Something else might be growing.
She's doing that piecework that we don't really see it, so she can get that radio.
Yeah, there's a moment where he knocks it out of her hand.
Yeah, there's beads, so then the beads are in the sand.
They have to sift the sand.
Yeah, and that's when they're talking a lot about the sand. The nature of sand, and which is interesting that they take so long to explain the economy of sand, but in this film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, right, and then
I was like, what is
well, that's the thing is it seems for so long when reading the synopsis, I was like, oh, this is clearly just existential allegory. But it's actually kind of real. Within the world they build, it's fairly realistic. It's this is not just meaningless work they do every night with the sand. It's it's both to protect the house and because it'll pay off for the village.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas just reading is they dig sand every night. It's oh, okay, this is some metaphor or something. But But it's a metaphor that actually works within the world.
Sisyphus was the other thing it's always compared to.
Oh, of
That
course.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Right. No, it does kind of work that way. Right. And then that also, there's the moment where he throws all his bugs in the fire. And gives her a box to put all the beads in because she's using all these little unstable boxes. And he's here, you can have my box.
Yeah, and it's almost a nice gesture.
It's almost I think it's a sweet kind of gesture. I mean, he's making up for doing a dickhead thing 2 seconds earlier, but it is nice.
Yeah.
Because he didn't need to knock her beads away.
That's true.
She wants that radio.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then, so that, and then she's not well.
Yeah, so it jumps ahead and
right. Oh, that I was gonna say. Like, how do we know how much? Because basically most of the book is like the first week, practically, right? I think it's like
and then it's like it's kind of seems like she'd been pregnant for like 2 months. Sorry, reveal.
She gets pregnant.
She gets pregnant, but
it's like an ectopic pregnancy,
and she mentioned that it started in October.
Yeah.
But I'm just trying to think because it was like a summer vacation. I'm assuming, or no, he was. But so I was trying to do the math on like how long he's down there.
Right.
But by the end of the, I'm actually not sure. It's certainly really several months.
I mean,
maybe not a year quite.
Yeah.
But so then she's a pregnancy. Yeah, they bring down a doctor because she's in pain, and then they get her out of there. They
bring down someone who worked with a veterinarian once. First.
Who just sort of like smells her.
Oh my god! Yeah, he just smells her.
He vibes it out. He vibes out the pregnancy.
Real weird. It's a strange moment.
And then he goes, "Baby."
Yeah.
Baby. Yep.
Nailed it.
Smell him on her. Mm-hmm. And then then he's like, it's probably not a good pregnancy. We got her. And then so they get her out of there. Now, well, anyways, they remove her from. Yeah.
So everything from here on out is a bit ambiguous, but like in the movie, to drive home that like this might be her death sentence.
Right.
As they're lifting her up out of the hole to take her to the hospital, she just keeps saying no.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Also, the radio shows up.
Yes, the radio shows up. Bad timing.
I was like, fuck, dude.
And he's like, put it with her. Go.
And she's like, no.
I don't want to know.
No.
Yeah. But at the same time, is it a ladder or is it just the rope?
It's the rope ladder, yeah.
The rope ladder is back.
They leave it because they're like relieving her and they're getting her out in such a rush. They don't remember to pull it back up behind them.
Yeah.
And he's faced with a decision.
Yeah, what's he going to do?
Go up the ladder?
Or
stay in the hole?
Or like, I got no rush. They're gonna keep that ladder down for a while. So I'll just kind of.
Plus, I got to tell him about the water.
This water
I
thing going.
This thing. I call it a well, I think.
You call it a well, perhaps?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's in the movie. He does go up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then is like, it's not as good up here as I remembered it being.
Yeah, he goes to see the ocean.
He sees a child.
Oh yeah, looking down at him. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what that metaphor is.
It's a good question.
Yeah, I don't know.
Next generation's gonna get fucked up by this too somehow.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
Probably, maybe.
Yeah.
But he goes to see the ocean. And he's like, it's fine, whatever.
Yeah. Back to the hole.
Back to the hole.
Back to the hole.
But he's bought into this sort of thing in his own mind. Where he's like, well, I don't have to be in a rush. I can go tomorrow, the day after. I want to tell him about my thing.
The funniest way it's laid out, like sentence wise, is he's like, man, I really want to tell somebody about this innovation I got with the water. Mm-hmm.
The villagers
really cool.
Would love
you know what?
this.
I'll tell the villagers. They'll think that's so cool. Yeah. And then maybe I'll escape after that.
And then I'll get out of here.
And it's like, okay, man.
But it's not like he's like, I'm going to tell them right now. I'll tell them in time.
Yeah. Eventually I'll get around to doing it.
Yeah.
I'm obviously going to leave at some point.
At some point. I don't want to be in the hole anymore, but actually.
And then the bookend in the book comes back, and the movie adds the epilogue of like, he's been gone for 7 years.
He's now officially declared dead.
Yeah.
And he's a Dune man.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting because I feel like I saw a few different, and also in the essay, there's a few different interpretations of the ending where there are people who are saying that the movie is telling us this is him finding freedom in his imprisonment. And I'm like, this feels like the I Love Big Brother moment. I don't feel like this is a release. I feel like this is just like even worse.
Well, is there any freedom under capitalism?
Mm-hmm. These are the questions we ask.
No, yeah. I think it's also like the reason he went on vacation is that he hates all of these things. Like he doesn't tell anyone at his job because he thinks they're stupid. Yeah. Duh. Everyone's stupid in comparison to him. And also just like his lady is always asking about Tokyo, and he's like, ugh, like whatever. It's not that nice. All the city stuff. So I think he really does want to, unplug in the sand. Mm-hmm. And like, not that he's free in that, but I think he does find, it's like, I think the essay calls it like freedom in imprisonment, which is sometimes kind of true.
Yeah, it's sort of you hope you don't find inner peace being in prison.
Yeah.
You know?
yeah.
But maybe that's what it takes for him.
It just
he's
lets
never
him
going to
slow
find
down
it.
a bit, you know?
You slow down. Slow down. It's a slower pace of life out here.
True.
Where my house might be collapsing at any minute.
We do things a little differently over here.
Maybe he's like the old guy from Shawshank. What was that guy's name? Who after all the years was let out?
Very tragic little mini movie with him.
He was here, and then he can't do it anymore. He writes
Brooks.
Brooks was here.
Yeah, he's a Brooks from Shawshank kind of guy.
I definitely agree with you. I mean, I think it's like I agree with you that it's not meant to be like it's not a true like, hey, I'm so happy, but it is definitely a thing where like his brain chemistry has been altered in such a way from having to do this day after day that it's like, that's not that much worse. Yeah. Which honestly, I'll say by the end of the movie, there's part of me that's like, I mean, I don't know. Is it that much worse?
Yeah.
All you got to focus on is the sand. It's sort of like, this is hang with me. It's sort of like being a drug addict.
Oh, sure, Tyler, like, you know all about that.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Where you're like, oh, all I'm worried about is where am I going to get my next drugs?
Right. Yeah.
And you're just like, where am I going to get rid of this sand?
Yeah.
And then you just hang out.
Yeah.
That's
and
all
it's
you're
like
worried about.
They bring the things to you. It's like you just do this terrible task all the time, but at some point it probably isn't that bad.
Is it that
and
much
that's what
different?
like happened to her, and she's like, would they even love me if it weren't for sand?
Well, and he even talks about like not even liking teaching that much, where he's like,
he doesn't like anything.
I'm just a stone at the bottom of a stream that just like keeps going. The kids come and go, and like I don't even know if I like him that much. Like he's, so it's like, what's the difference? If I'm a Sandman now. Yeah,
I mean, he could have gotten his name in a field guide.
He could have if he wanted it so bad.
Yeah, but anonymity and sand.
Yeah,
pretty good.
My sort of theory, which I don't think I'm the only one that's had this, but it's like, so the sand is like a take on like just life, just going through life. And to me, like literally to leave the dune is to die. So when he briefly escapes and it's like a harrowing adventure and he almost dies, he's like, I'm not ready for that. So like to me, sort of like one interpretation of the ending is him being like, I'm not ready for death. I'll keep shoveling this fucking sand a little bit longer just to see what happens. Mm-hmm. Whereas she is obviously like, this is the pregnancy that kills her.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just kind of like, that was like my first immediate take on it.
That makes sense. It also speaks to, him being there. It's like, ultimately his intervention has led to her death.
Of course.
In the way that it was always going to,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's very much, a metaphor for being trapped under a capitalistic society.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's also a lot to do with like post World War II Japan.
Yes.
Since this is published in 1962, it's about like a loss of home. Yeah. And like hometown, and I think
because
Kobayashi talks about
it's
that a lot.
supposed to be set in 55 and end in 62.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's even closer to the end of World War II.
Yeah, but it's like this. There was like this such a massive loss of place, and also like I think if you think about the politics of the town and the village and all these things, is like that camaraderie also,
and like a sense of duty.
Yeah, so I think also like anytime you talk about metaphor, it sounds corny, but I think it's a metaphor for society.
Yeah.
Also, I think sand is very much.
We are the sand.
Yeah, there's a lot of metaphor about like femininity in it as well, especially I think, probably not very in a kind of crude way. Also being down in a hole, and like it's like I think especially at that time in terms of like feminine metaphors, it's like rolling things and like soft things, and then like. Being able to go down in a hole like it's a fucking vagina. It's just like curves, holes.
And he can never quite figure it out.
Yeah.
You're stuck the landing so hard on
but
that,
he
Emily.
keeps trying.
Thank you. Curves, holes.
Curves, holes.
But like I think there's like perhaps I think some of the complaints around this book and this movie are that the metaphors are too metaphorical. Like it's too much. The bricks are like about it being metaphorical. If that makes sense. I think that's also in the Criterion video essay. There's parts of that as well. Yeah.
So what do we think?
What do we think?
Just in general?
Yeah.
I guess your reaction to this whole experience, because how long has it been since you've read and watched? Like I feel like if I get a sense of the three of us, I think we slammed both of these as quickly as possible.
I finished the book yesterday, and then I watched the movie yesterday.
Okay, we all did that.
Oh, wow.
So we all did it.
I also that's how I approach anything that I have to talk about, because I have like the memory of a goldfish in that way. If I'm going to remember all the details, so I'm still think I'm kind of unpacking it, and I think that in the way that I was. When reading the book, I was like kept flagging all these things where I was like, I have no idea how they're going to translate this to like a visual. And a lot of that is the like prose and the density of his like interior monologues, which I think are really cool. I hate to say that I love a lot of the sand metaphors and the things he's saying about sand and whatever, life, time. But the way that it's translated to the screen is actually, it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And I haven't watched that much like 60s like surrealism and existentialist like film. But so I think I was a little shocked even with the book itself that it doesn't ever get to a place that isn't so literal. Because you don't see the metaphor spin out of like world logic. Like it is always grounded and
Like there are fantasy moments, but it always brings us back to the world.
Yeah, but there's not like it's absolutely like kind of absurd in its basic structure, but there's nothing in it where it's like dream logic.
At
any point.
Right.
It's like relatively literal.
Yeah.
Which I found kind of surprising. I thought it would spin out in a different way.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm saying, like, oh, it's a story about people who just shovel sand all day. Great. I'm sure this is very metaphorical, but yeah.
Right. Exactly. So. Yeah, that's what I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about y'all, gents?
Yeah, ditto, man. You know,
just ditto.
Just like sames. I don't know. I really feel like I should have read the story. I know I kind of feel guilty sometimes by listening to audiobook, but like this one in particular, I was like, I should have read this because like I'm not.
Sounds like a terrible audiobook.
I'm not quite feeling it. I don't think the guy is bad. It's just the way it's. I don't know.
There's
the way
like a
it's
measured
executed.
quality. I know what you're talking about because there's a way to get caught up in the measured, sort of sedate tone that he applies to reading everything, where you lose the thought. Because it's all about the melody or lack of melody, and not much of the thought is coming through.
No, I mean more just like I think it seems like a very hard book to just listen to.
Sure, it's extremely dense in a way that is like hard on the ears. Certainly.
But I got the sense that I should like this story more than I am currently. It's just for whatever reason this audiobook is just not quite doing it for me. Like I generally like stories like this. I don't know. Like, and it's also a lot of his inner monologue stuff is like really kind of tough and kind of annoying.
Totally.
And for it's painting a picture, but like it's still annoying. And I was getting drawn out a little bit by that.
It did like make me think. One of my thoughts today was like, I mean, maybe things are like not meant to be fun all the time.
Yeah.
And so it's just trying to exercise an appreciation for the boring elements of both of these things, or just like the slow pacedness of it, which I think I don't know how you would tell the story and not have that be part of it.
Yeah.
It being very slow.
Yeah, it's basically slow cinema.
Kind of painful at times.
Well, and also it is interesting that because I don't think it's available anymore, but like the original U.S. version was a half hour shorter.
Oh my god!
So now we have the Japanese original cut, which is 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is funny that there's like for the rest of the country, we'll cut out a half hour. They
just
probably
take out one of the escape.
Exactly. Same fucking thing. Pop one of those.
Do we
bad
need
boys
all
out,
of them?
Shut it down. Whoom, easy, one reel, gone. Yeah.
But
Sorry, you finish your thought.
I was just gonna say, I also like while listening to the story, I was just more and more intrigued about like what is going on with her. I wanted to learn more about her, and I was never quite given it. So I found that a little frustrating. That's obviously on purpose, but like I don't know, I couldn't quite get past it because like for me, like this character is just sort of insufferable and stays insufferable and then just gives in and accepts his fate in whatever interpretation you want to take. But then I'm just like, this woman just had a terrible fucking life, and everyone treated her like shit, and then she fucking died. I want to know more about the woman in the dunes, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
I think that's
just
fair.
random thoughts.
No, I think that's very fair. No, yeah, I mean, it is nice. Yeah, the book's good. The book is good. I mean, it definitely...
Yeah, I will also say it is good.
It is good.
Yeah.
And there's stuff in it, like, as much as there are times when I'm like, we could move this Beetle talk along a little bit.
Yeah.
There's interesting stuff in there, and it's written in a way that makes it kind of, I don't know, stuff in there will stick with me in a way that it wouldn't otherwise, I guess. Or I would never come across that information. So,
about liking bugs being
all
gay.
the Beetle
bugs
stuff,
and
right?
being gay and walking towards the sun, not away from the sun, to your shadow. I'm going to remember that forever.
Sure.
Yeah.
Which is why most of these guys got sunburns on their noses.
Mm-hmm.
Boom. Going to stick with me for a long time. But, yeah, I mean, the movie is just like incredibly beautiful.
Yeah.
And it is just photographed in such a way that's very, very, very satisfying.
The movie's just kind of straight up a masterpiece, man.
Yeah, I would kind of agree.
Amazing movie,
Yeah. I mean, I think that's where I'm leaning too, just because I, as I said before, I think the translation is kind of ingenious, and it's also kind of amazing that as the screener. I mean, also I'm sure Teshigahara contributed to the script as well. That's usually how this kind of thing works. But just that Kobo Abe was able to be like, find that essence that a movie has to be, considering that the book is so full of screeds.
Yes.
just like dense screeds that are I agree. It's the kind of thing like when I was really getting like putting pedal to the metal last night, and I hate doing like speeding up audiobooks, but sometimes you got to do it because you're about to fall asleep and it's like, all right, 1.5. It's like, I'm really not getting any of these thoughts.
Yeah.
It's
See, I hit him with the 1.2. I think it's a perfect little balance.
Yeah, it's like it's a little fast. But
1.5 is a little much.
Yeah,
no, I know.
But 1.2
that's what I'm saying. Is like
perfect.
when it's really like, oh God.
Yeah.
What time of night is it? How much?
Yeah.
How bad have I been at homework?
How much more sand do I have to shovel?
Yeah. Also,
Just a little bit more.
It's funny that I've moved to this level on audiobooks, but I noticed that the Criterion Channel also has the ability to speed up, and that just horrified me. I was like, how dare you attempt to speed up Woman in the Dunes? And I was like, maybe. But I did not. I held firm.
Smart.
Oh, we should shout out the score, which is
I was just going to say also.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
When I was watching, I went over to my friend's house last night to watch it. Because I was like, I like this shit. This will be great. And he has 2 little chihuahuas, and I brought over my dog, and they were all like running in circles playing, and the soundtrack is like really ominous. And there was just something, I kept getting really distracted watching them, where I was like, this is a whole thing.
You don't even know what's happening.
I was like, whoa, this is a movie in itself. Like, just soundtracking it.
Yeah.
It was really good. But this I forget the name of the composer, but it's really quite incredible. And it's very simple.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just sort of like discordant tones at times that really kind of, which they said he was like a mentor to Cage, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
John Cage?
Yeah,
John Cage. Yeah, he like came to Japan to like study under this composer at some point.
Yeah.
So that's very cool.
It was also my friend who has not read the book, also thought he had seen the movie. It turned out he hadn't. Thought it was, I want to say it was like Red Desert. He's like, I saw Red Desert. That's what it was.
Okay, interesting.
Red Desert, not a dune.
Yeah. And he was like, the ominous music kicked in. He's like, is something bad going to happen? I was like, they're in a pit. Like, he's like, oh no.
It's already happened.
Yeah. He's like,
I thought this was going to be like an easy breezy Woman in the Dunes.
yeah. Something bad gonna happen?
Yeah, he's a big time city man. She's down.
It's basically a Hallmark movie.
Yeah.
She's doing
You should remake this for Hallmark.
Yeah, oh my God, there should be a Hallmark.
He's got to give
edit.
away his big city bug catching lifestyle to be a dune man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is big city to small town.
Big city to small town. And she's got to keep her little house going. Her little. We make it a bed and breakfast.
You got to save the Christmas tree farm. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Let's get rid of the sand.
/B&B.
Yeah.
Well, no, they're still shoveling sand away from the B&B.
Right.
Yeah.
Obviously, yeah.
But they get the guests to do it in a
They
fun
get the
way.
guys to do it.
It's
and
in
then
Maui
they're
or something.
forever.
Yeah.
Or like a Midwestern town. It's one or the other.
One of the two,
Yeah.
I just suddenly had the thought. I was like, do you think he becomes accepted and like becomes a happy member of the village, or is he always going to be like the put upon man?
I think they're going to look at him the same way that they looked at her.
Yeah. Which is not giving a shit at all.
Yeah. Just a tool.
Yeah.
Cog.
It was literally the Hallmark thought. I was like, yeah, but he's not going to like join like the people at the gift shop and like have some nice hot cocoa.
They're not going to be
he's
talking
still
at the
gonna be
waffle bar. He's going to be down in the pit.
Yeah.
Working on as well.
I guess now do you think if like another person comes through town, will they throw them down there with him? I mean, obviously, right? You would think.
I mean, I would hope
Or
they
a different
would,
hole.
Yeah, try another hole,
Yeah. I don't know. I immediately got to wonder about like the gender of it all, but
That's also interesting.
Also, this guy drives people insane. So.
Yeah, they know. They know he's
maybe
annoying.
solitude for this guy.
I know.
Yeah.
Solitary.
Maybe there's like another. It'd be nice if they could like combine households.
That would be nice. Yeah.
Tunnel between the dunes.
I'm sure there's yeah. Sure, there's a nice lady alone in another hole.
Right.
Sure.
Move him over to him.
It sounds
He's right
like
on the
it.
edge.
Yeah.
She's,
Just shuffle it around a little bit.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah, it's not like he has a sense of place in this home. Like, it's whatever.
I think all the
Shuffle
holes
him
are
around.
Sort of blind dates with the
Oh
the
yeah.
whole inhabitants.
That could be kind of fun.
Yeah.
Dating game.
Speed pit dating.
Speed pit
Yeah,
dating.
it's just can on the street.
See, this is good community building stuff. Speed dating for the pits is really huge. Yeah.
God.
Do it like the dating game.
We
but
just
it's like
conjured a reality show. I hate this.
Yeah.
3 women
It's
are
gonna
up
be
there.
real now.
Man in the pit has to talk to them. Woman has to decide she wants to go in the pit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what is it? Like farmer
Would
needs
you
wife.
stay in the pit
Yeah.
for this,
Woman,
man?
in Dune needs wife.
He has a house.
Has a house. He has a home. He has a job.
Yeah.
A huge superiority complex.
Yeah.
It's kind of perfect, honestly.
Yeah, kind of perfect.
Yeah.
Do we have any other last thoughts before we vote?
Final judgments.
The movie's a fucking certified banger.
It is.
That's all.
I
need
feel
to
like
say.
that's the
Yeah.
question we're getting to.
Yeah. All right. Well, then, yeah. Emily, did you like the book?
Yeah, I liked the book.
Did you like the movie?
I loved the movie.
Which is better?
I think the movie, though, I want to be an advocate for the book. I think both are very strong. But movie.
All right.
Movie.
All right. Moving down this way. Tyler?
You gonna ask me?
Yeah. Let's make it professional here.
I guess that's true. I set up a framework.
paradigm.
I set up a framework, and then I was just like, throw it all the way.
I am nothing but a
prompt.
slave to a paradigm
Prompt.
of scooping.
Did you like that book?
I did.
Did you like the movie?
I really did.
Which is better?
The movie. It is like it's like a 5-star movie and like a 4-star book kind of thing. I would kind of put it that way. Out of 1 million. No, out of 5.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. No, movie. The movie is really just like insane, and then the book is just kind of like that's good. But they really and it makes sense that the writer is the screenwriter and could like again. It was interesting. I had also had the thought this feels like something that almost would be more of a short story. And it's not a super long book. I mean, it's just over 200 pages, and it's like I felt like the font's large.
Yeah, I was like, oh, thank God for some pictures.
And they got some pictures, and it's like a bit.
Really
so
pad this thing out.
It is like kind of like it feels like a premise. And that would be in a short story that then like we would be psyched to do on the pod because it's like it was a short story, but they nailed the like translation of the premise to a movie. But it is more of a novel, borderline novella almost, I would say. So, but it makes sense to me that the writer who wrote it would then go on to basically improve upon their own idea, and then visually have an absolute just stone cold awesome director, knock it out of the park in terms of that. So
pretty lucky,
pretty good,
But their whole thing was that like they were sick and tired of the Hollywood style movies that Japan was doing, so they specifically wanted to make fucking high art, and they did.
They did. And it is really cool. I mean,
political art, too.
We didn't really talk about it, but like movies a massive success. It like becomes kind of known all over the world. It's nominated for 2 Oscars. Like it really is like a huge kind of a phenomenon in its way. So it's very cool.
Also, the title sequence like slaps.
Oh, it's really good.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good.
Which like that pattern is on one of her shirts, and I was like, oh, that's fucking cool.
Yeah. And it's not that it's the same drawings as in the book, but I liked the kind of line between the two.
The connective tissue there.
Yeah.
All right, moving on down the table. Allan, did you like that book?
I did.
Did you like that movie?
Fucking love that movie, man.
Which is better?
Like I said at the very beginning, it's the movie, dog. He perfected his own idea and made it perfect. Come on, it's the movie.
I'm gonna make that unanimous. I think
You're not gonna ask yourself?
Justin.
Sort of like switch sides as well.
Justin, did you
Please
like the
don't
book?
do it. Please don't do this.
Yep. No, I agree. I might even go 4.5 on the book, but I do agree. I think the movie somehow takes it and really just even elevates it beyond a very good book to just masterpiece movie. So yeah, that's unanimous. The movie has won.
Yeah.
Wow.
How lucky are we?
But I think,
Great pick.
Yeah, but I think we
Pretty
also
good
would
pick.
say, hey, check out the book. It is like a solid piece of Japanese existential literature.
Specifically at Skylight Books, 1818 North Vermont. Come buy the book from this place.
Yep.
Natural born salesman.
Support your local independent bookstore, Skylight Books.
That's where we shovel our sand.
That's where we shovel our sand. Our book sand. Come to our welcome to our dune.
Come to our local dune.
We'll leave the rope ladder out, though. You can get back out.
Yes.
That's nice.
Ha 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 ha.
Ominous.
My workplace actually has a lot of sand.
Oh, yikes.
Yeah, because our office is built on top of a tar pit.
Hey.
And so the full parking lot is covered in sand. And that's just some weird LA shit.
Cool.
That is some weird
So
LA
then
shit.
the tar doesn't get all over your car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, fair.
So you don't fall into the tar pit like that one mammoth at the La Brea tar pits?
I could if we spa crumbles.
He's
then-
still falling.
If we spa were to crumble.
Yeah, then there'd be an open tar pit.
There'd be an open tar pit. Yeah.
I would be gone.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Woman in the Dunes.
It's kind of, yeah. It's Los Angeles.
Spot on, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how Los Angeles works.
That's how
Sometimes you're in the dune.
Sometimes you're in the dune, yeah.
Well, thanks so much for listening to us gab about books and movies. Hope you enjoyed it. We will be back next month, hopefully with another returning guest, Connor Holt, who was on our Green Knight episode. We're batting around a couple of ideas for that. Might be James Joyce, might be Princess Bride, which are wildly different options, but both would be fun. So anyhow, keep listening to the Skylight Books podcast and come by our store and have a great one.
Or order online for all your remote listeners.
Skylightbooks.com.
Skyllightbooks.com.
I think Mick is about to come in on the like bumper and say, go to skylightbooks.com.
And in which case, if you order...
take it away, Mike.
If you order it on skylightbooks.com, then you go to 1814 North Vermont.
To pick it
to
up.
pick it up.
Or have it shipped to you.
Or have it shipped to you.
It's not complicated. So
Yeah.
nailed it.
I don't even work there.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Skylight Books podcast series. We hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to check out the book featured in this episode, or others, please visit skylightbooks.com. If you're in the Los Angeles area, stop by for one of our live in-person author events. You can find a calendar on our website. If you like this podcast, leave us a review. Really helps us out. Our music is by Duck the Piano Wire. Till next time.